Jen, welcome to the Crypto Princess channel. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
All good, all good. So we're going to cover your crypto story today. I'm so looking forward to this because you do
Me too.
champion women a lot. But first of all, Jen, if I was to meet you in high school, what kind of person were you?
Oh goodness, I was very creative. I like to do art, and so I would probably be doing art or um, some kind of creative project around my house. Pretty much 24/7. I actually thought I might go into art as a career, and my art teacher was pushing me that way so hard. And when I told him I wanted to be a physical therapist, he was just destroyed. And he said, "You're wasting your talent." And I said, "Well, I want a steady paycheck." Art is sometimes hard to make it. And so, yeah, I went a different route, but I still love doing art. Like even today, I found AI, and it's just made it so quick and easy to be able to do art. And so I do a lot of that on social media, and just have fun with it.
Awesome. So after high school, did you go off to university or what did you do?
I did. I went to university for 2 years, I believe, and then I went to physical therapy school, and so that was another 3 years. But I enjoyed it a lot. I love to learn about science and the human body and everything that prepared me for my job as a physical therapist.
Awesome, awesome. And do you run your own business now?
I don't know. I actually work for a hospital system that I've been working for many years. At one point, I was a manager at that in that clinic system, and had therapists as employees. But after COVID, I just kind of got burned out of
Mm.
management and everything that we went through during that time. And so I took a year off. Actually, I took a year off and did Web3 full time, and I really enjoyed that. And then I just needed a little more structure and I could miss my patients. And so I went back to patient care and I work, several days a week, maybe two, sometimes three. Just depends on what the needs are. But yeah, I really enjoy it, connecting with my patients again. And it still leaves me time to do social media and Web3. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
It sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. Okay, so let's talk about 2020 because that's when you got into crypto. Um, 2020, we had COVID. So
Mhm.
it was a very, very difficult time. People were getting ill, people were dying, people were trying to look after and protect other people. Um, Businesses were closing down, people were losing jobs, the economy was a wreck, all the rest of it. Nobody was prepared. We were having lockdowns. It was a very difficult time, and it was a time of a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, it
How
really
did you,
was.
yeah, how did you get into crypto at that time?
Well, at that time, in the hospital system, there was a lot of demand for, what we did as far as physical therapy, but there were also times where, people were scared to go into the hospital. And so just balancing that, those staffing issues, they offered us, a little bit more of a flexible schedule. And so I did, take a schedule where I worked, I had one day a week off. And I spent that day teaching myself how to trade stocks. And so, back then everybody was a good trader because it just went up. This is after COVID and everything started rebounding. And so I learned how to, trade stocks. And then that led me into trading crypto. And I just stuck with it. And it really gave me something to, get excited about when everything out there was just kind of sad and gloomy and something new. And I met just so many new people, different communities that I joined as part of crypto. And so it was kind of just I guess a bright spot during a really difficult time.
Mhm, mhm. And Doge in particular. So Doge is a meme coin. How did you get into, or how did you discover Doge?
Oh goodness, I found it on TikTok probably a year before that, and I just thought it was the craziest thing that people were putting money into a coin that wasn't even a penny. It had so many zeros at that time, and I kind of laughed about it. And then a year later, I saw it again, maybe on X or somewhere where it was, being hyped up again. And I said, well, all right, I'm going to take another look at this. And had gotten into, more into crypto at that point and kind of understood it a little more. And I said, okay, I'm going to buy a little and just see what happens. And it had a few zeros still on there at that time. And it just started going crazy. Every time Elon Musk would tweet about it, it would start running. And so I just held it, and I probably held a little too long, but I did make some money on it, and learned how to take profits, and just kind of looking around for the next Doge when I found SHIB. And that was like February of 21, I think. And yeah, that was definitely my gateway drug, was Doge.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, so 2020 was a halving year. 2021 was the bull run year. So we started off the year round about 30,000 US dollars, and we literally went straight up to April 2021, where we hit the high of 69,000 US dollars. We then had the China FUD, we had the Tesla FUD, and we rolled over. We went down and we literally chopped at half at 30,000 for a good couple of months. A lot of Bitcoins were taken off the exchanges, and because of the new hype and the supply shock and all the rest of it, we then went and hit the actual all-time high in November 2021 at 69,000 US dollars. Now, that for anyone, even very experienced traders, was a very difficult bull run. In hindsight's a beautiful thing. We understand it now, but you lived through that and you were in meme coins. Tell
Yeah.
me how you found Shiba, and then obviously what was your experience like in 2021?
Yeah, 2021 was interesting for sure. When I first bought Shiba, nobody really knew what it was. Nobody was really talking about it. I was just looking around for a fun community and the best memes, because I knew memes had such a potential to go viral. And so I just stumbled across Shiba. I actually put, half money in one token and another half in Shiba, and just left it and said, well, maybe I got rugged, maybe I didn't, but let's just see what happens. And then one morning in May of that year, I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this stuff? Had no idea what that crypto could do that. And I was like, can I even sell it? So, that's when gas fees were so high. And I tried to sell it, and I was able to sell a little bit of it, just a test transaction, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is real, this is real money. And yeah, so I sold a little bit, and then I held on to the rest of it, and I've still been holding to today. But yeah, I think we all kind of thought Bitcoin was going to 100,000 that year. And I think a lot of us didn't see the top. I know for sure I didn't see the top. And I told myself, this time I will know, I will at least have a better understanding, or at least when my portfolio is looking good, like I want to take a screenshot, I'm going to sell some, I'm going to take profits, because yeah, I don't want to get caught like that again, because definitely got caught in a lot of tokens that I probably should have sold, or at least sold part of.
Mhm, mhm. So apart from SHIB, which was probably the largest coin in your portfolio, what other coins were you holding? Were you into Bitcoin at the time?
Yeah, actually, I was into Bitcoin. I bought, well, started buying the top around 69,000, and maybe 68 or so. And I thought, okay, this is I obviously saw that I bought at the wrong time, but I want to be a holder, and I want to hold one Bitcoin. Like, that is my goal. And so that whole summer, next summer, I just DCA'd, all the way down. And, and so I've reached my goal, and, definitely got it at a better price than I started, which was fortunate. But, yeah, I wish I could say I held on to it. I spent it on JPEGs. I spent it on NFTs, and could probably just die right now that I did that. But yeah, you live and learn. And I've started, DCAing again this cycle, and we'll see what happens. But I really do think it's important, to hold Bitcoin if you're a crypto investor, because it's just, the technology is there, the demand is there, and I think we're going to see some good price action in the future. No, not financial advice, but definitely I'm excited about it. And Ethereum as well. I started, every time I got Ethereum, I couldn't keep it in my wallet because I'd buy some NFTs with it. But I did, I was able to stake some, and, have it today, and, just kind of excited to see where that goes as well. And, I would probably say most of the majors, if the top 20, XRP, XLM, let's see, I'm into some of the RWA tokens like Ondo and oh my goodness, I don't even know how many I have actually, but I've definitely diversified over the years and, tried to find projects that have stay in power and have real technology and, good teams and could see some good appreciation in the future. Solana, I did help hold Solana for a while, but um, I think I ended up taking profits when it went up to that around $300 or so. But
Mhm,
yeah, I do love Solana as well.
mhm. Let's talk about NFTs. So, for those people who are unaware, NFTs are a little piece of code that's on the, well, a piece of code that's on the blockchain, and they represent things. Traditionally, a lot of people associate NFTs with images, but they truly can be anything. They could be deeds to a house or receipts to your shopping. NFTs could be anything, and it's all built on blockchain technology. Now, in 2021, that was a major hype was NFTs. You not only bought NFTs, but you understood what NFTs were. That's very, very difficult. Even people nowadays don't understand what NFTs are. How did you learn about NFTs and how did you, let's see, how did you discover NFTs and how did you learn about them?
Yeah, I got into them, through crypto, people in crypto that were, I'd say probably spaces. That's where I first heard about them. The late night DGen spaces. We'd all, mint something together. Maybe it was a free mint or whatever. And sometimes it would do well, and sometimes you just, it was a free mint, so you didn't have anything to lose. But I love to see the communities form around NFTs, and that was just so much fun for me to be part of some of those communities. And I love art, so even if they didn't do anything, at least I had a wallet full of nice art. And now I do have a wallet there that some things went to die, that's for sure. Some crazy art. But for the most part, I've really enjoyed. I decided at one point that I was going to buy for the art no matter what happens. So glad I did that, so I can still open my wallet and appreciate the art. But yeah, and then the first NFT I ever bought was Crypto Chicks. I was looking on OpenSea. I'd
Mhm,
never bought anything before, and I thought I'm just going to teach myself how to do this. I've done crypto, surely I can do NFTs. And so I went on there and I was looking for a PFP that kind of reminded me of myself, and that was by a women-led team. So this was the first. I think it's the first women's led or women's team NFT on OpenSea. And so I found the crypto chicks and I found one that kind of favored me. And so I bought it. And then over the years, I've just, gotten more involved in that project. And in the last 2 years, I've joined the core team and helped host their spaces and do their social media. And so it's been a lot of fun, but I still, feel like I just recently changed actually to my own, persona on social media. I was using her for the longest time, a couple of years probably, and it just it just was me. And I did hate to not use her, but then I thought if I'm going to be out there speaking, I may want to have my own, picture. So I did that. But yeah, I hated to give her up. That was hard to do.
mhm, mhm. So just very quickly, when you were in 2021, you were going through this amazing bull run. Um, a lot of people who are in crypto, their families do not understand what they're doing or what crypto is about. Did your family embrace this, or what do they think of it?
No, not at all. They were, scared. They thought I had lost my mind. Probably most of us have this story to tell. They didn't know who I was, talking to on the internet, all my internet friends, as they called them. And it was just a really kind of, I guess, scary and different world for them that they didn't fully understand. And, even after all this time, um, I think they understand it more now, but they also still don't fully appreciate, especially the technology. They really can't appreciate that part of it. So it's been a lot of, just kind of selling it to my family and reassuring them that it's okay, that it has a bright future, and look at what Bitcoin has done in just the past year. So I'm really hopeful for the future, especially for the technology, and because all the regulations are starting to change, at least here in the United States. We're getting more crypto friendly, and you're hearing about it on the news more, and you're, seeing big corporations and banks and all that start adopting blockchain. And so, yeah, it gives it a little bit more legitimacy, I think, as far as the public goes. So they're coming around, but it's taken a while.
So that's real life and that's family. But you do have an amazing community, and this community started back round about then, but also it grew. So if we look at 2022, so 2021 bull run, 2022 bear market. So obviously we rolled over. We had a lot of black swan events. NFTs literally lost a lot of value in quarter 1 of 2022. We had FTX, we had Luna, we had Voyager, we had 3000 Capital. So we had all of these black swan events, and they kind of felt like they were coming one after the other.
They did.
You really put yourself out there because you started to do X spaces and you started to become a figure in the community. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting looking back on that now, that's when I decided to do it. But I just fell in love with crypto, during that last bit of the bull run, and I just knew it was going to come back at some point. We have the 4-year cycles, and we did at that point. Who knows what's happening right now? But we had the cycles, and so I, had high hopes that it would come back. And if not, as far as price action, at least the technology was something that was going to stay with us. And I just looked around. I was hosting an International Women's Day space in 2022, I think the spring of that year. And a question was asked, like, how do we learn about crypto? Is there a private area to learn about that? Somewhere where we can feel comfortable asking questions. And we just kind of looked around and didn't see anything and thought, well, maybe we can build this. And so a friend of mine and I, we opened up a Discord that was, women, just for women. And it was a place they could come and access safe resources, all free resources. But, it had the links for Binance Academy and MetaMask Learn, and all kinds of free resources that we found. And we actually sent a cohort group through the Black Women Blockchain Council's it's a consensus certified intro to blockchain course. So there are about 11 of us that went through that course together that year. And that was a lot of fun, just having, weekly meetings talking about, what we learned, and just kind of bouncing ideas off each other. And we, still have the Discord, and we have opened it up to men, just here recently, because we have some of the most amazing men in our community that support us and, help, push opportunities our way, or just, push our socials, or our biggest cheerleaders out there. And so I didn't want them to not be part of it. But um, I think, and I think also as more and more women come into the space, it's not so overwhelming for them to be the only one in a space, or in a Telegram, or in a Discord. The only woman there, like it was when we first got in. It seemed like so few. So now, one of my special interests is in helping women find their voices, and, become speakers on spaces, or maybe host their own YouTube channels, or launch their NFT projects. And so I spend a lot of time doing that, just trying to, support and build and grow the women in my community, and just, help them find opportunities, or when they have the opportunity, just promote them and support them any way I can. And yeah, some of my most cherished stories along the way are, women that were so nervous to come up on stage in a spaces when they first started out or first found us, and then, hosting their own space and just killing it up there. And like, it makes me so proud. I just want to cry. It's just amazing to see that.
Oh, that's beautiful. And you've been doing it for a very, very long time. You didn't give up. So that's well done. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
thank you.
Tell me about Sheep Women. So we were going through 2022. The price of sheep, the price of a lot of the coins had fallen a huge amount. We're talking about, up to 90, even more. I mean, a lot of projects went down to zero as well.
Right.
People are coming to you for advice. People are coming to you for knowledge, to know, to try to understand what's going on. That must have been quite a lot of pressure. And you also started She Women as well, didn't you? Co-founded it?
Yes, co-founded it. Yep, in 2022 as well. And I it's such a huge market cap token, and it's had always been top 12, top 15. I think it's around number 23 right now. So it hasn't fallen, that significantly in terms of being a huge project. So I felt, comfortable with it being a decentralized network, with it being no one's in charge necessarily. It's just up to the community. And so I felt comfortable, supporting that token for these years. And, I've onboarded women, not necessarily to SHIB itself, although, a lot of our social media had SHIB logos or, um, you know, education about SHIB, but it was for blockchain in general, just any crypto that they were interested in. We're here to help educate you, to teach you safety, with your wallet, making sure no one gets hacked or phished. And then, to see what they're interested in and help them go that direction. So yeah, SHIB was definitely my first love as far as finding that big community and you know, growing different projects in the ecosystem. And then, recently we decided that maybe we can make a bigger impact through more blockchains. And so we changed SHIB Women to Queens of Crypto. And so we're supporting, as many chains as we can. And, that's not going to be a boundary for us or a barrier for us to entry. So, we bringing all our SHIB women along for the ride and are really excited about this. We started that in the very first part of 2026. And so rebranded everything, building our social media back up. We've got a website that's in design development right now. And then I've applied for trademark of the logo. So hopefully in the next, I don't know, eight or so months, we should hear something about that. So I'm excited to see where that project goes. And, whether it's events we're hosting or educational series or formal mentorship programs or just helping women along their crypto journey. That's, definitely my passion and what I want to see Queens of Crypto do.
Mhm. What I love about your story is that you've just kept consistent and you've been doing it for years. Let's talk about 2023. So that was the bear market. 2022, you didn't give up. You were there, you were supporting people, you were answering questions, all the rest of it. 2023 comes along, it's the recovery year. We've already bottomed. We bottomed in November 2022 at around about 16,000 US dollars. 2023 comes, we start to recover. You stay as a public figure, but now you're going to a lot of conferences and you're traveling the world. How did you get involved in that side of crypto?
I was actually our SHIB Women group. We were community partners for a Futurist conference at ETH Toronto in 2023. And, in working with them and trying to, figure out how we could best support them and how they could support us, they were looking for speakers. And so I applied and I think, they encouraged me to do that. And they had a women's panel there because it's a big ETH women meetup opportunity there at Futurist, and so I got to speak on a panel with ETH women, and it was just really cool to meet other ladies that are doing the same thing as I'm doing out there, just really building communities, building projects, and delivering on their missions. And so I just kind of fell in love with um, that networking, that close networking that you get at conferences and, sharing my story and learning from other women's stories. And so I've continued to speak on different stages for the last couple years. I've spoken at Web3 Amsterdam and NFT NYC at ETH Miami. And I've had just a lot of fun with it. I was nervous at first, super nervous getting out there on stage, but once you do it, you just see, okay, everybody is just like you. They're all nervous. Just share your story. And so that's what I've done. And I've really learned a lot from it. I've grown my network and, my confidence level has grown in public speaking. And so it's been a great experience.
Hmm. Hmm. And then obviously you've had this community grow with you as well, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, so you've been traveling, you've done a lot of traveling, you're now doing conferences, you've done a lot of X spaces, you've supported a lot of women in X spaces. Women are also opening up their own X spaces, and you can tell you're very, very proud of all of that, and rightly so, you should be. Um, then obviously in 2023, you became part of the core team for Crypto Chicks. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that was a really interesting experience when I first got into the group. I would go to the spaces, but I wasn't really as involved. And then they went through some struggles in the bear market, I think, as everybody does. And they asked if I would help with their social media because I was doing a lot of social media at that time. And so I would do, their X posts or their, we started their TikTok account and just kind of started slowly growing socials. And from then, they asked me if I wanted to be on the core team. And so I started hosting spaces for them and, being at the meetings and just trying to keep the project alive during the bear market. I think as so many projects struggled, it was the ones that still had a presence, that had some degree of a comeback story. And so, yeah, we're just still supporting the mission and waiting to see what happens. But we've done some cool things, sending women through blockchain education to teaching how to do DPIN and encouraging women to exercise through different initiatives. So it's been a really good learning experience for me. And it's been a lot of fun. And I've onboarded one of my good friends in the space who joined me on the core team, and we host our spaces together, ladies' nights with the crypto chicks. And we recently took a little break for that around Christmas, but hope to come back with some spaces soon and also some a YouTube, not excuse me, not a YouTube, a TikTok space that I'm going to be starting next week, a TikTok live, which I'm super excited about that. So I'm going to be hosting with one of my good friends who we used to host weekly spaces for a SHIB together. It was called the SHIB Recap, and we had that. I think it was a run of about 140 straight weeks, like straight through holidays. Every single Sunday night, we were hosting spaces just to support the community and deliver news. Any news about SHIB, we would, you know, collect it and then report. So that was a fun experience. But we've stayed friends, even though we wrapped the show, and we're going to try something new together. So excited about that.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So with SHIB, especially SHIB, what's attracted you to the point that you've spent so much time and effort with SHIB? And I know you've now branched out a lot more, and we'll talk about Crypto Queens in a minute. But do you think it's mainly the community, or do you think it's the project, or a mix of both?
I think initially it was the project. I was excited about the being an experiment in decentralization and just I saw what it could do in a bull market, and I saw that crazy run, and knew it could happen again, and just got excited about that. And I think that's what first got me into it. But then I stayed, of course, for the community. I found some of my best friends in the space, and my traveling partners are from SHIB, and we actually met playing Royal Rumble in a Discord, and we just got to talking about going to ETH Toronto. And I just said, I don't really have a group to go with, and they were like, "Well, come with us." And so found myself in an Airbnb with 6 people I don't know, but it was like turned out to be some of my very best friends, and I've joined them on teams and on different projects we worked on together, and we still travel together
Mhm,
today. We host Shiva Fest one or twice a year. We have a big gathering that comes together to support trees and the SHIB community, so that's always a lot of fun.
mhm. Because meme coins really are community coins, aren't they? So
Yeah.
there's a lot of, yeah, it's all about the community and the vibe as well. And SHIB does have a strong community, a strong vibe as well. And also it's cool about being decentralized and all the rest of it, which is very nice. So okay, let's talk about, well, we had 2024 next. And then we had 20, well, which was a halving year. Um, Altcoins did quite well in quarter one. They did quite well in quarter four. And then we had what seemed to be an extended meme season, pretty much right in the middle, going on for months and months and months of meme coins. Um, then obviously towards the end of 2024, Trump got into office and all the rest of it. A lot of legitimacy was added. And then obviously we have 2025, which was meant to be the bull run.
Right.
What were last year, especially last year, because you're in this community, you've been waiting 5 years for 4 years for the 4 year cycle to come back, and it kind of seems like the worst bull run in history. How are you guys supporting each other?
It was a buzzkill for sure. Like we just knew it was right around the corner. But we started seeing that gambling with Pump Fun, and we started seeing a lot of new tokens coming out, like saturating the market, new tokens, and it seemed like everybody was just here to get rich quick. And then when we saw the Trump token launch, um, got a little more concerned, and then Melania right after that,
Mhm.
and it kind of just wiped the liquidity out of the market. And I know we've had a few tokens do well over the last few months or so, last year, but definitely not the bull run that we were expecting. So, yeah, I don't know what to attribute it exactly to, but it's definitely not been the bull run that I expected. And so maybe we're, going to push into an extended cycle and have, 2026 be an alt season. But I'm definitely waiting patiently. We've seen Bitcoin do its thing, but have yet to see the altcoin rally like we're used to, or like we see every 4 years. And so I'm patiently waiting for sure.
Mhm. I feel like it's slightly easier as well because you've got that community behind you, you've got that
Yes.
vibe, and that's all about meme coins, because meme coins are literally a piece of code on the blockchain with a JPEG.
Right.
But what you have is you have the community, you have the belief system, and all the rest of it, and obviously the reasons why they're holding that particular meme coin. Utility coins are completely different because for utility coins you need expertise, you need people there, they're a little bit more hardcore, if that makes sense. With the
Yeah.
meme coins, even though you went through 2025, you had that amazing community behind you. Also in 2025, and now towards the end of 2025, you started the Queens of Crypto project. Tell me about that.
Yeah. We just felt like we maybe kind of I guess maybe short-sighted in what we were doing as far as a mission, with limiting it to one blockchain, which that was our passion to start with. We really wanted to build the SHIB community up, but then we're looking around and seeing other chains do well, and other needs in other blockchains for the same thing that we were doing. And I started networking with like the women of base, women of Bitcoin, and just realizing that there are needs out there that are not being met, and new chains as well. And so we thought, what if we rebranded and opened ourselves up to all chains, and we were able to reach more women and help more women learn about crypto and feel comfortable in crypto. And so that's what we decided to do. So our mission is to educate and empower the next generation of Web3 leaders. And through that, we want to do, mentorships, formal mentorships programs, educational opportunities, events, in-person events, and just anything that will help bring more women into blockchain is definitely my goal. And we've been free this whole time. We haven't charged anything for anything that we're doing. Just for the love of diversity in crypto. And so who knows what we'll do in the future. I definitely would love to see it become a nonprofit at some point in the future. um, we did just as fun, not for any kind of revenue. Although if it does make a little bit, we'll put it back into Queens of Crypto. But we launched a creator coin on Zora, and that's been really fun to learn about, and to put our content out there that's centered around queens of crypto, and it's got a queen theme, and it's some really cool AI art, and it kind of feels like we maybe have a little NFT collection without actually launching the collection. So that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, you can find it on Zora, and then we have our active social media accounts. We're in the process of building a new website. You can find us at shibwomen.com right now, but soon will be queensofcrypto.org. And we're also, we have TikTok accounts, we have Instagram, and then we have a really active X community, which is where we, most of us, I would say, kind of gather and wait for updates. So that's been fun to build that X community. But you can find us, it's Queens of Queenz of Crypto on X.
I love it how you say Z. Because
Yeah.
you say Z.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put
Oh,
all
Zed. You say
yeah.
Zed. Yeah, that's funny.
So I'll put all your links down below. Definitely, I'll have them there. It's so inspirational. You're such a lovely person, and it kind of comes across you're very business minded as well, which is lovely. Tell me about your goals for 2026 and the future.
Yeah, I would say, professionally or in Web3, I want to just build the brand, build the brand recognition. I'm starting with building the community and building our social media presence. So that's kind of been my main focus. And as we get a little bit closer, I want the website to be up and running and to be a really cool place that people can find and can help attract more women to come, and see what we can do to help them. And I want to grow crypto TikTok. That's one thing I've kind of been focusing on lately. Crypto X is just, it's been hard to grow there. It's been, the algorithm is a little crazy, and it's just, it's been a little bit more challenging. And so I got on TikTok in 2022, and with crypto content, and there was nobody there with crypto at that time, it seemed like. And lately I'm seeing more and more educators come on. I'm seeing more TikTok lives talking crypto, and it's been so fun to see that starting to finally build. And there's 600 million users, I believe, on X, but on TikTok, there's 2 billion, almost 2 billion. And so that's a lot of people we can reach through that platform. And I know you do an amazing job on YouTube as well. That's one I haven't been able to grow yet, but uh, congrats on what you have done out there. That's so difficult.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. All the platforms are really difficult, and nowadays, I don't know if you're noticing, but it kind of seems like a lot of people's accounts are being taken down for what seems to be like hardly any reason or no reason. So it's good to have, um, you over a number of platforms, if that makes sense. And like I said, they're all going to be in the description below. But that's absolutely wonderful, Jen. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing
Yes.
your crypto story.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. You've been lovely, and I've enjoyed talking with you. So good luck with everything you're doing as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.